So welcome everyone. I'm going to be doing a quick 8-year whirlwind tour of history of Atlas and conclude with some future plans and our description of our survey. Here's our topics. So we'll go through 1.0 to 2.14. We'll talk about our Atlas 3.0 release plans or development plans. We'll have a guest from DataForLife to talk about efforts for the Atlas 4.0 redesign. And I will walk us through survey 1 of 5. So the origin of Atlas came from combining 4 different tools into one unified interface. We had vocabulary exploration, database characterization, cohort definitions, and cohort characterization across these 4 tools. So the 1.0 release back in April 2016 incorporated those features into the UI, and we'll breeze through that. And the 1.0 series of releases went for that year from April to January of 2017. So this is the original homepage, for those of you that might remember. Few navs on the left that lets you select which function and feature you're looking to go into. Our vocabulary search had this style to it. It was multiple tabs. You had a search tab at the start where you do a text search. It would give you a history of selected concepts and search terms that you used, and the results would be on the results tab. There was also incorporation of the record counts from Achilles in this table right from the beginning, so that was a great feature. Our concept set or concept exploration was split across 4 tabs where you could get details about the concept, related concepts using the concept relationship. Leverage the concept relationship would give you those relationships. We could see immediate parents and children from concept hierarchy, and we had a tab that would show for this concept what the record counts were across your sources. The concept set editor was a simple UI with 3 or 4 tabs. You had your editor, and you could see from your concept set expression the included concepts. You could see what source concepts map to those included concepts, and we had an export function. Cohort editor was very simple. At the time, we had the notion of a primary criteria and additional criteria or inclusion rules. We didn't have any concept of exiting, but we did introduce the notion of generating cohort reports, and that was under the reporting tab. This is the original patient profile editor. It showed on the left, or on the right, I should say, what the patient timeline was. On the left, it gave the list of distinct concepts that were in the patient history. And to highlight, you would just hover over the left side, and it would, I'm showing here, I hovered over one of the elements, and the yellow dots was what was being highlighted in the timeline. Okay, and so that pretty much covers what the original functionality was. Fast forwarding to the last release of 1.x, which was the 1.4 release, we had inclusion rule reports, we introduced the instance rate calculation, we facilitated cohort exit dates, and we'll take a look at that. So the homepage got a little bit of a style update with this the rounded corner buttons, and we just took out the blue banner there. We added an instance rate nav. The cohort editor received some polish and description changes. So we had what we described what an initial event was, what the additional criteria did, what the exit criteria did. And so this made it a little bit more easier for users to use the tool because they kind of could read some documentation. The instance rate calculator was introduced, allowing us to calculate rates of outcomes among target cohorts. So given a list of T's, a list of O's, and a time at risk, it would calculate those rates. You would also be able to specify strata criteria, which would break down the populations into each unique groups, and the visualization would show you relative higher or lower instance rates based on that strata. We also implemented in 1.4 the cohort method analysis designer. This was the single study design, allowing you to choose a T, C, and O, and it would produce, and all the inputs, of course, and it would produce an R script that would execute the cohort method analysis. It would not do that in Atlas at this time, but it would give you the script to do it. Okay, so that's that first year of Atlas. Switching gears into Atlas 2.0. The timeline for the 2.x series starts in February 2017, ending in December 2023, so many years. We'll jump into just what was added in 2.0 and then jumped to 2.6. I'm not going to read everything, all the features on all these slides here, but you guys will have copies of the slides if you're interested in any of those details, but I'm going to call out some of the highlights. So one of the main additions was the addition of a sign-in button on the homepage. We supported 3 authentication types, Windows authentication, Google, and Facebook authentication as our first implementation, but we added to that as time went on. The search user experience got an update where it was just one tab for searching. So you just search and you have advanced options and search results all handled on one page. We did have an import tab allowing you to import concept sets from JSON. The data sources, which we had a data source from the Achilles in our 1.x line. I couldn't show them because I actually didn't have a copy of any of the JSON files. It was all file system based. But in 2.0, we now read directly from the database the Achilles results and presented it in reports. With authentication and security, we had the notion of read and write permissions to things, to assets. In this example, we're showing a cohort definition that's in read-only mode. So we had to create read-only views of all of our assets for those people that didn't have write permission. With security as well, we had authorship. So we added authors to all of our asset tables and allowed you to filter by who created the asset. Okay, now we're gonna fast forward to the first milestone of our 2.6 that we're going to talk about, which is the 2.6 release. That was about a year and a half later for 2.6 and incorporated these features. On the homepage, we added 3 new navs. So we have characterization, pathways, and prediction was added as of 2.6. We also added a notification bell to notify you when execution jobs were done. And also we now tell you who you're signed in as when you sign in. The concept set editor got a few new tabs and features. One was an optimized feature allowing you to remove redundant concepts from a concept set expression. We added the Explore Evidence tab, which was using the common evidence model. This would show you any information through literature or other sources related to your included concepts. It would also help you create negative controls by selecting those concepts that didn't have any references in the common evidence model. And finally, the Compare tab was added to allow you to compare between 2 concept sets. The just checking time, see how we're doing. The cohort editor received another update and codified basically what we now know today as the cohort elements, which is entry events, inclusion criteria, and exit. The documentation was removed from being in line in the UI and now is hidden behind these question marks. So you can click on these icons and you'll get a descriptive description about what a cohort entry is, and etc. We also added validation and messaging to our assets, starting with the cohort editor. So looking at the message tab will give you information about logical problems that you might have or things that are unused, like unused concept sets. Cohort reporting got an update in 2.6. We had a suite of reports that we could run, but it would take about 45 minutes to an hour to run. So we split that up into the full analysis or a quick analysis. We also added a series of analyses for healthcare utilization from Gotham and company. This one report I'm showing here is the new tornado report that was added to it, which gave quick access to patient profile. By running the report, clicking one of the bands, you see a sample of people, and then you can click on a patient. Which leads us to our profile update. The patient profile viewer got a redesign. The left part was taken out, so more screen real estate could be used on the actual content of the patient profile. But by clicking an icon on the top, you can actually choose concepts and color code them so that you can have your own custom coloring scheme for how you want certain events to be highlighted in the patient timeline. Cohort characterization was introduced as of 2.6. Characterization let you choose target cohorts and a set of feature analyses. It would allow you to generate on your sources. It would also keep a historical track of the different generations that you perform. So you could go back to different versions of your characterization and see different results. The outputs presented the characterization in tabular form and also provided a comparison function that if you do select two cohorts, you'll do a cohort comparison, and that will give you a little visualization of what the balance is of these features. With characterization came the ability to create custom features. There was two main types. One was criteria type, which basically was the same functions as creating cohort criteria, as well as being able to implement your own custom SQL, which was very similar to how feature extraction works. Pathways was introduced, allowing you to define a pathway analysis by taking a set of target populations, a series of event cohorts, and you would get a report that aggregates the sequence of events and telling you like what the proportion of first, second, third event cohorts was in your population. Later, we added tabular views, but this initial implementation just had the visual. 2.6 also saw a update of cohort method, population level estimation, and patient level prediction editors was introduced. This kind of followed the same style as you saw in the cohort editor and supported multi-analysis studies in the cohort method. So list of T's, list of I's, list of O's, etc. And then the patient level prediction editor was just introduced in this release. Configuration received an update to basically now through the UI, you can create sources and add sources, you can clear the cache, you can manage your permissions, and you can import users from LDAP. Okay, so that concludes our stop at the 2.6 timeline. We still got lots of time to go. So starting with 2.7 to 2.10, we're going to flash forward to 2.10. You'll see that there looked like there was a big gap between 2.7 and 2.8. So for this one case, I decided to add all the interim hotfix releases for 2.7. 2.7 was deemed operation bug fix, and we spent much of our energy fixing bugs, and then started introducing more features as part of 2.8 to 2.10. So the 2.n homepage now has this look. The main difference is that we have a language selector at the top, allowing you to choose different languages, and the UI will change, called localization. We'll get into the details of that next. In 2.8, we created a cohort sampling function. So after you create your cohort, you generate it, you can actually create a sample from the cohort by passing demographic criteria and what sample size you want. With that, you'll get a list of patient IDs that let you click on them and then jump directly over to the patient profile. So this is a simpler way, instead of running a tornado report, this is the simpler way to just basically create a sample and navigate to their patient profile. Localization was applied with 4 languages. The way it worked is you chose the language of interest, and here's the 4 different choices, and it would change the navigation items, column headings on tables, buttons, and other functions in the tool. We didn't go as far as to dynamically translate all of your cohort definition names, but we did do. There is a lot of column headings that were changed with this work. And 2.10 tags was introduced. We didn't have a UI editor to create them yet, but we gave instructions on how to insert them into the table. But once they were created, users could go into different assets and assign tags to them. 2.10 also introduced the concept of versioning your assets. So anytime you save the concept set or a cohort definition or etc., we would keep the JSON that asset is, and we make a version of it. You could view the version history, and you could preview it, create a copy from that version, or add comments to it. Okay, coming up on the big landing, flash forwarding to 2.14, that introduced many features, but we'll go over some of the highlights. First thing is that we added another nav to our homepage for the function of reusables. Reusables basically allow you to encapsulate criteria logic for cohort definitions or custom criteria features. So this is just an example where you can say, what domain you want, embed the concept set, and saves some clicking, and then you can just define this once and reuse in several locations. Another advanced feature of reusables was the ability to parameterize them. So you can create some logic that doesn't take a concept set at this time of creation, but when the user uses the reusable, it can choose which concept set should be put into each of these placeholders. 2.11 introduced some enhancements on concept set importing. When you do a source code import, you can click search for codes. It'll preview what codes match that search, so you can choose them and select them for inclusion. And for a JSON import, we now had the ability to either append JSON to an existing concept set or just completely overwrite it. This function allowed you to basically take multiple JSON concept sets and merge them all together into one concept set. In 2.11, Achilles, at that time, Achilles was updated to give person counts and descendant person counts, so we attached that to our concept tables for 2.11. 2.12 introduced Phoebe 2.0. There's two elements of that. One is from the search, you can create a concept set based on a string matching algorithm to get your concept set created from that. And then the Phoebe results would be in this recommend tab, showing you what the based on your included concepts of your concept set, what concepts does Phoebe think are related to those? Important note on this is that you don't have to create a concept set using this shopping cart. You can go to any existing concept set and Phoebe will recommend you concept based on what's included in that concept set expression. In 2.3, we've got our tag UI. In the configuration screen, there was a tag management button added that would let you create tag groups and tags. And then the user, once those are created there, the user can use them to tag their assets like concept sets. Finally, we have the drill down reports for concepts from data sources was attached to a tab related to the concept. So if you remember, this is the concept information set of tabs with related concepts. The drill down report was added so that you, instead of having to go back to data sources, search the concept set in the right domain table, and then click on it and then see this table, we're pulling up this drill down report directly in this view. Okay, so that is the evolution at a very high level. There's hundreds of features that are in Atlas, but I just wanted to give you guys a sort of a nice taste of everything that was developed. This is more of a technical graph, but I would like to share because it's driving some of our motivation for what we want to do in Atlas 3.0. This is showing lines, a trend line of number of issues fixed, how big the package is, the WAR file that's being built, and how much time it takes to compile. Since 1.0 to 2.4, you can see a steady uptick. Build times have taken 5 times longer. The actual package size is 3 times bigger. And this is all indicating that there's more complexity to the application, possibly redundant code or obsolete code. And for 3.0, we would like to take the time to basically review the functions that we have, possibly simplify, possibly reduce dependencies, basically just improve the quality of life of the developer and also make the application more resilient to bugs. So with that, I'll start talking briefly about the parallel tracks of the Atlas roadmap from the 2.x, 3.x, and 4.x series, and then I'll hand it over to our DataForLife Peter to talk about what the plan is for 4.x. So on a 2.x perspective, we're ceasing active development on that. We will certainly maintain it for current users and accept hotfixes and make hotfix releases as necessary. And certain circumstances, we might actually make a minor release, adding a new feature if we deem it's important enough to do so. But we want to put most of our energy into 3.x and 4.x. For 3.x, we have a technical upgrade. Currently, we're running on a very old version of the JDK, JDK 8. That was released probably 12 years ago. We'd like to upgrade that because a lot of our dependencies are going to be no longer supported under the older JDKs. With a major release of any application going from a major release, we can also take more time into possibly reworking existing functionality, not be too concerned with backwards compatibility, although that is going to be a concern, but we can take this time into 3.x to do that and to figure out where we should be focusing our energy on reviewing that functionality and making improvements, we will be having our June surveys as part of the Odyssey community call, which I'll be introducing the first one at the end of our talk. For 4.x, not to steal any thunder, but it's going to be a more significant redesign of Atlas, incorporating more ideas and features that are coming from our community. And we will be having a whole process of how to accept those type of features involving socializing features with the community, getting buy-in from multiple organizations, and assigning roles and responsibilities to maintain those functions and features that are being put into the application. You will all have a copy of these slides, so I will have links to the survey and our community call on Tuesdays noon, which is immediately after the community call here, if you guys are willing to join. Okay, with that, I'm going to hand it off to Peter. Peter, are you available on the call?
Sorry about that. So I'm Peter Hoffmann. I'm the co-CTO at DataForLife. And yeah, I just will briefly talk about what is DataForLife and what we do, just to give a little bit of background what our motivation is to get involved here with Atlas. And then afterwards, yeah, I will talk about the plans regarding Atlas 4.0. Chris, could you go to the next slide? Yes. So DataForLife is a non-for-profit company founded by the Hasso-Plattner Foundation, and by that we are basically, we are purpose-driven. So our goal is not to make revenue, but to have impact and to develop software which has a positive impact on the world. And we also truly believe in open source software, so we develop software and then make it available to the general public. And our focus is developing in the healthcare space and to work there closely with partners to get to know the requirements towards the software and then basically build these solutions and then open source them. If you could just go to the next slide. And so I think one of the main projects we do is a data to evidence platform, which we open sourced and which you can find in the GitHub org of OHDSI. And that's basically an end-to-end platform for OMOP data management and analysis. And there we build our own tools. I mean, you can see of one of these tools, a screenshot on the right for data exploration. But we as well truly believe to not reinvent the wheel and integrate with existing tooling, which is already available. And so we integrate in our platform various tools from the OHDSI community. So we have basically tooling for data integration. So there we integrate, for example, with WildRabbit. And then we, for the analysis side, we as well integrate, on one side with Atlas and with various other tooling like the Hades libraries or Strategos. And so therefore we believe basically we develop our own tools where it's necessary, but where there is something already, we basically look, can we basically contribute to make the existing solution better? And that's as well why we are interested in Atlas. And Chris, could you just go to the next slide? Yeah, and that's why we basically look into Atlas. So I think what we see, when we talked as well with our partners was that I think Atlas has a very rich functionality and solves a lot of problems. But I think one of the challenges we heard so far is that I think especially for new users, I think there's a quite steep learning curve of getting started because as well as it offers so much functionality. And so what we see as one of the main areas for improvement for Atlas is the usability, especially for new users and non-technical users. And so our plan is there to do user interviews first. And there I think we need the support here of the community to interview people who used Atlas before, who gained experience, and to collect the feedback. Then based on that feedback, we started now to look as well, basically, how can we actually improve the user interface? And we started now with basically building some very initial mock-ups, and there you can see basically one example on the right side. But that's basically work stream that's just started, and the user interviews are ongoing, and they are still interested in interviewing new people. And then the ultimate goal is obviously to implement actually these improvements. And so that's, I think, the third work stream to implement the new interface, which will start after we basically collected more information from the user interviews and created mock-ups. Yeah, if you could just go to the next slide. And I think the work stream, which is, I think the most active right now still is collecting this feedback from the community. And so in these user interviews, we will basically ask questions about the usage of Atlas, about how you basically build concept sets, concept selection, the cohort building, the analysis pipeline, and feedback basically on mock-ups we created. With some initial ideas how we could improve the Atlas UI. And so I think currently we did the first batch of user interviews, but I think there we hope still for more users to interview, and we currently are in the process of summarizing the results of that. And I think there are already some people who filled out the survey, which Chris posted some time ago in the forum. You can see the link there. And they indicated interest. So we recently, I think, sent already out some emails to these people, but we are still looking for people who are willing to be interviewed so that we can collect the feedback and then build new ideas for how to improve the UI of Atlas, with the ultimate goal to implement that. And so I think that will be a more mid to long-term effort, as it takes some time to really make these significant changes.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. I do have this link here. I encourage everyone on the call to just hop over to the Odyssey forums and look for that Atlas survey post that I made that has the link to the survey. We really appreciate everybody participating who can. And Peter, thank you very much for giving us that overview of DataForLife and what the planning is for the Atlas 4.0 redesign.